We go. They're guys. They do magic. They are the magic guys.
Love heart. How adorable. I've never seen that prop before, Doug.
Nor had I until about a week ago. I was gifted this thing. Not the kind of thing you see on the Doug Kahn shelf, you know what I mean? The
Very
silk
cute.
pagoda. Warpo gave me this. It came from Harry Anderson's old shop. He had a few things laying around. He brought it over and he's like, Doug, here. I said, where'd you get this? And he said, Harry Anderson. I said, okay, I'll take it. So it's going to live over here. Little piece of Harry is going to be hanging out. I won't put it there now because I'm not wearing pants and you might notice, but.
No one needs to wear pants. What's up, Scotty P?
I mean,
what's up,
professional
John?
from the waist up. That's how I do it.
Yeah, exactly. And if we see your table starting to rise up at any point, we know why. Because
And that has to be worthy of a like and share.
Good to see everyone in the chat here. Hey, we're back. We're back in business. I wonder how many people watched our last week's episode. I did a sort of makeshift one in the dressing room. It's still got like 130 views and, you know, whatever downloads. So
it should have had 131. We were talking about it before. I didn't watch it. I saw that you posted it. I was busy. I'm like, Josh did a bonus pod. And I was like, I got to watch that. And then tonight you're like, Doug, did you see the bonus pod?
It's all good. You know, it's hard to watch our own podcast back when we're busy doing other stuff. I get it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Like I was telling Doug, basically what happened was, you know, we weren't able to make the podcast last week, but I love being able to put out something each week. So I had a couple of hours in between each show that I was doing. So I was like, you know, all my camera gear is here. Why don't I just set up a podcast? And I wrote a makeshift sign. I didn't have a proper microphone, but I did have my wireless Go, which I recently bought the second version so I could have two people on the pod at the same time. And then I just ran the audio through this podcast filter. So if you listen to it on Spotify, it sounds even more crisp than this $1,000 microphone. You know,
it's so pro.
So it's,
so now this is good for me because I can go back to like the old days when I used to look forward to watching this shindig. You know, now it's just I'm here, so I don't have to I just do it. It's in my brain.
That's it. Ira asks, is that what you're revealing? the magic prop. That's funny. So we did have.
There might be some light exposure. And when I say light exposure, I mean.
Just minimal. So we did have I put up a poll in the Magic Guys Instagram earlier today. And the poll was, will Jason make it onto the podcast? Which is, let me just bring up the stats here. So we had 47% say yes, and then 53% said no. And so for the 53% that said no, you are our winners, my friends.
Thank you for your patronage.
Yeah. Well done. Well done, guys.
Right now, hold on. Technically, this is only a win if, because he could still show up. He might be here in a minute. We don't know. It's not a no-show until really the show's over.
That's true. That's true. Jason, if you're out there,
we could say halfway point. Halfway point. After halfway point, it's like, come on, bro. You didn't even try.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
30-minute mark, that's a winner.
Yeah, but so far, Bob, you are winning that race. But we'll see how we go. Yeah. B's in Japan right now. Everyone's been most of the guys in here have been keeping up with his vlogs at the same time. The guy's a maniac. He's doing a lot of stuff. Including saying he'll be on the podcast. But anyway.
Literally unimaginable to me. I can't imagine doing what he's doing. I can't fathom. No way.
Me neither. But we got all the crew here. We appreciate you guys. So yeah, so we set this theme. We touched on, why Doug teaches magic like 2 episodes ago. And then a lot of people are messaging saying it'd be great to hear more about like kind of the difference between teaching magic and just revealing magic. And I guess Doug's in the best seat in the house for that. But I guess it's along the lines of like, when is it okay to be teaching? Because some people are teaching for the sake of, getting views when they don't really know what they're doing, and other people are doing it because, like Doug, they want more great magicians. And so
I've composed a 30-minute discussion of the Silk Pagoda. We'll be exposing the inner workings and discussing the presentational theories, as well as the exact secret of this trick. This will allow the viewer to disseminate the information and make an informed decision. So if you got a coffee, if you're smoking a stogie, now's the time to sit back and relax.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I have. I do. I mean, I just like it, right? I like sharing magic. I've done it my whole life. I did it when I was 16 at the magic shop with 12 guys around a card table on a Saturday. I did it every Monday night at Bennigan's restaurant for 10 years with 10 to 20 or 30 guys hanging out at the restaurant. And I did it online as at the early beginnings of the internet. I've been sharing magic online my whole life. Basically, I'm pretty well experienced to say it's okay to share on YouTube if you care about the art. You got to care about the subject matter. Yeah, not just money or views.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because if you're doing it for money or views, like, you're going to be sadly disappointed in the end, because eventually there's only so many things you can teach. And you get to a point where people don't want to see you unless you're teaching. If you have no personality and you're just showing up to these videos to reveal a secret and explain how to do it.
There's guys doing that. I feel Jay Sankey's doing fine just doing that. He's cranking out tricks every week, and of course he's pleasing, right? Like, I'm not tuning in to see what his latest thing is, but he's doing it, probably making a good living, making these tricks and sharing them on the internet, and then selling some things as the, backbone of the business.
But he's selling, but he also sells magic as well, right? So there's a point to it. And he sells, I imagine, pretty high quality material.
Do you now? Because I don't imagine that at all. I imagine he's just cranking tricks out to sell. And this is the burden you bear if you choose the lifestyle that is that it's hand in hand with the teaching,
Yeah.
If that's your job,
Sure.
I've considered it being my job. Like, if I wanted to go whole hog teacher, make that my job, I have a lot of things I could teach. I could go to basic 101 and just like, here's how you do sleight of hand magic from the beginning, and do that for 2 years or 3 years, probably. It'd kill.
Yeah.
But
Just
then,
on Triumph.
just doing that, right?
Just on Triumph alone.
But here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. I want to do what I want to do. And sometimes that's going to be having Warpo at my house. Sometimes I'm going to give away magic books. Sometimes I'm going to teach some classic magic. And guess what? Sometimes I'm going to teach some really advanced crap. And there'll be other things too, But it's not, for me, it's certainly not about exposing magic to get views. It's just sharing the art as I love to share it, as I have my whole life. And now I'm doing it the way most people are doing it. Everyone's learning on YouTube. We've discussed that. They're all here.
That's it. And that's why they're all here, because they love how you teach.
It's like, they're here because the information was disseminated through the last decade. Some really good guys doing it, some not so good. This battle to protect magic secrecy was lost probably 20 years ago, really. If you really wanted to fight this fight good, you need to fight it a long time ago. The information's all out there. What we need is teachers to guide students towards the way to use this information properly, right? Or maybe even, enhance the teaching process that was not so good 10 years ago.
Yeah. When the Breaking the Magician's Code first came on.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that was a controversy.
Yeah, what was like the rage in the community at the time? Were they just like,
it was fierce? How old were you then? Do you recall this happening at all?
Yeah,
Had
I
to be
remember.
before your time, huh?
Well, I do remember watching it on TV as a kid, just on normal TV at home.
Yeah, well, there were so
Before,
many of them. There was
yeah,
like how many 10 episodes of this trash?
right,
And that
right.
was trash. That's pure exposure for money.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to fight it with lawsuits. They had magicians organizations band together and tried to stop this guy, but they didn't do it.
I think I remember because the Magic Cafe was around back then, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
I think I remember looking back. I remember finding a very old thread of when it must have first came on, and the first post was like, breaking the magician's code. All right, where do we find this guy? You know, like, what's the plan? How do we take him out? You know, like, it just must have been.
Well, and that didn't happen for a long time. Eventually, they figured it out. But yeah, he was the mystery man. Let me tell you, the laymen were talking about it. I was working tourist magic shops at the time, and the day after that show aired, there was, a lot of people talking about a lot of things they shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I mean, people still talk about it to me. They're like, "Oh, are you really annoyed that the Breaking the Magician's Code came out?"
What do you say when people ask you that?
Well, first I'll say I think it's still on Netflix. Like, I think that's on freaking Netflix, which is wild.
And it's appealing. It's an appealing clickbait. Breaking the magician's code, learning the secrets. Sure.
Yeah. So what I say, and what I still believe is I say that what's really funny is the public think he's revealing secrets, but what he's really doing is showing really old methods that people used to do things with. And what it's done since then is force magicians to get better and do things totally differently. So it actually hasn't hurt magicians at all. That's what I say. And that's what I think, because I've never had someone say, I know how you did that because I saw it on the Breaking Magician's Code.
This is one of my arguments that I address on YouTube. Number one, that the things that I teach are archaic. Most of the things I teach are from people that have passed away. So it's old classic material, and we should be doing advancements of the things you learn from Doug Kahn. I'm teaching oldies, right? But beyond that, I perform not just on the medium where I expose, perform to the tune of hundreds of millions of views, and I get a lot of feedback. And the feedback is not, I know how you did that because I watched the video. I never hear people say, I know how you did that because I watched your video. I'm not, but more importantly, when I'm live in front of hundreds of thousands of people on the street, I know through a lifetime that the exposure on YouTube makes no difference. None. I never have anyone make issue with even Googling a trick while they're in my presence. Maybe they do it afterwards, but man, I just feel like if you're a good magician, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Do you have memories of people that would watch your magic and try to deduce something and maybe come back with a YouTube video that says, "Oh, I figured it out"? Has that happened in your life?
Never YouTube, but when I have seen someone again, I have had them guess a method that they've come up with in their head of how I must have done it, but not finding it online or anything. So like with unlocking someone's phone, for example, they've come back and said, "Oh, I know what you did. You must have like looked at the fingerprints on the screen, the residue, and deduced which ones are being pressed the most." Or most recently,
that's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's how I did it.
But here's the thing too: when the spectator figures out a method, your game's over because they have a method. So
that's right.
Our real job is to dissuade the method.
Yeah, absolutely. And so right now in my shows, I'm doing the Rubik's Cube where the spectator solves it behind their own back, right? So they have the mix-up cube.
Man. We've talked about that moment. I love it.
I love it too. And for a while, people used to come up and say, can I have a look at that Rubik's Cube? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And I'd take it out of my case. And it would keep happening. I was like, they must think they'd be looking for like a button on it or something that would change it. So then I started giving the cube away. And then that stops that happening because people now realize if he's giving that away, it must be nothing wrong with it. But even still, when I was doing these shows, which we can talk about at some point, at QPAC, one group came up to me and they're like, so as soon as the woman brings it out and it's solved, I make a point of saying, and I'll never touch that cube again. That is yours to keep. You know, let's give her another round of applause. But one family was still like, we have one theory on how she solved it, and we think there's a button on the cube. And I was like, okay, but let me ask you, if you think there's a button on the cube, do you think I would have let her keep it? And if so, like, you could track it down and check it. And then maybe they forgot I'd done that, because then they were like, okay, so you're saying it's a normal cube. I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying I have trick hands. You know? Anyway, it's a funny thing. Bob was asking.
Tell him to YouTube it and find the real secret. You know, you can find the secret on YouTube if you have half a brain.
That's true.
Look it up there. It's the library of the internet.
Bob was asking, so when the Magician's Code came out, did that actually increase the amount of magic people bought? Curious if you know.
I wonder, did that generate more interest in magic, or did it not?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Because did he not bring out a magic kit after that aired? Like,
look, I remember things pretty well. I don't remember that happening. It wouldn't surprise me since he had network television, you know, on his side. That's an easy sell, I guess, if you're the masked magician and you just stick the magic kit on, you know, the show. Yeah, probably.
Well, if you've spent 10 episodes revealing magic, teaching magic, apparently, to the layman, it would make sense to bring out your own kit. Well, the reason I say that is I remember him going on air and then stuffing up a card trick, like a self-working card trick. And I'm pretty sure that was because he was promoting the magic kit he sells.
Yeah,
and he messed it up on live TV. And I remember the magicians grilling him and finding it hilarious. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. It's funny stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think his first special did hurt. Like, you know, a lot of guys, there's like a lot of cruise ship workers back in the 90s doing boxes, you know, zigzaggers. And, you know, there's probably 20 zigzags floating on the ocean that overnight were like, uh-oh.
Damn. What about Copperfield? Because he was revealing, like, walking through a wall, I'm pretty sure. He like did the egg, he like showed how he pushes an egg through a wall, and then he showed like how a shadow can go through a wall. Yeah.
Dave's up here laughing at him. He's looking down going, look at this idiot. Didn't care about that.
True. Very true. The only one effect I think he revealed that would, you know, stopped me from wanting to do it was the bottle lid through bottle. Because that was an actual, you know, method effect that was out there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only one. Because I remember purchasing that method and I was like, oh, damn, that's the exact thing.
That is levitation, which uses a little bit of forklift. Step one, get a forklift. Drive it in the stage. Get it backstage.
Was this the street magic one? And he's like explaining how you make it look like a crowd's watching you levitate. Anyway, little did he know you could just use sponge bunnies and get a way crazy reaction, right, Doug?
It's the best trick in the world.
Yeah, that's right. Oh boy. So our buddy Mika, if anyone doesn't know, is currently working the Maho Magic Bar. He got this gig where for 2 weeks he's doing like I want to say it's like 3 to 4 shows a day. Of this, I think it might be more shows, but yeah, he's having the time of his life right now.
Is it a magic bar, or did he just weasel his way in there, or both?
It's a touring experience. So it's actually it's a bar that's made from shipping containers, and when you go in, it's like a Japanese magic bar setup. Most of the entertainers there are Japanese. But then you've got Mika as well.
It's currently in Sydney then, this thing?
It's currently in It's about an hour away from Sydney right now, I believe.
Right.
So they were at the Adelaide Fringe, and I think Mika helped out for a few nights. And then, yeah, they've been in Brisbane. They've been, so they kind of tour. They tour around to where the different festivals are happening and that sort of thing.
I love it. And they travel with shipping containers as a theater. I think I saw him doing shows with the circus show in one of these. Yeah, man. Whoa, I love this idea.
Yeah, it's a really great idea. So the guys that the lady and gentleman that produce it are proper theater producers. So they are the real deal. They produce all sorts of other really creative shows, but this particular one is made in a way that it can trap, like the actual setting itself can travel. And this is so this is what it looks like from the outside, Doug.
Yeah, baby. That's a good time, right?
Yeah, and that thing travels wherever they go.
Well, you show up to a fringe environment with that, you're packing it every time. It's pretty small in there, right? What do you got, 20 or 30 seats?
I believe so, yeah. And
man, I would love that. I would crush that room. I want one. I want a room like that.
Right.
Putting it on the list. It's going on the vision board.
Yeah, for those who are watching the video, there's just a couple of images going up. But it's it's basically a bar vibe, and you go in, and then magicians are strolling around, and you see each of their different acts, and then they have a few moments where someone will jump up on a table and will do more of a stage act, and then it'll go back to roving. Then someone will do another spot where everyone's watching them, and they're doing something visual. Yeah, it's a great setup. So yeah, Mika is a part of that right now, and it's awesome to watch him do it, because he came from New Zealand to Australia hoping to make it magic full time, and right now he's got like the most full-time gig he could be wanting right now. That's great.
There's something that comes hand in hand with busting your hiney really hard at what you love. You get successful things that happen along the way. Man, he's been working so hard at everything. Deserves every success he gets. I was telling you before the show, I don't consume any magic content on YouTube. When I do, literally the only one I watch is Mika. And I haven't seen the ones where he's at the bar, but he's the guy I watch when I want to sit down and watch a YouTube show. Literally the only one lately. Right. It's not personal or anything. I just don't consume magic lately, except for Mika Harris. I want to watch him do his thing.
Yeah, well, he's doing his 365 vlog right now. So
right. Love it.
He'll definitely have it. Hey, Nick, welcome to the chat, man. Nick was one of the guys that was talking to me about how it'd be great to delve into this more. And Nick has a great point on it too. If you've created it, you have the rights to reveal it. Because Nick does a great lecture and teaches him some great stuff, and I'm sure he must get people saying that's too good to teach, or
Let's go down this rabbit hole a little bit. Like, I agree with that completely, for sure. If you created it, you can do whatever you want with it. I made this. I can do whatever I want with it, right? So I've had arguments, not discussions, because I don't like to call them arguments, but I've had magicians say, Doug, who are you to publish this trick on this place? And I say, well, here's why, and here's why. And one of those reasons is it's a variant handling. The originator didn't use the OPEC count. The originator didn't use the 2 for 2 or 4 count. I've changed the handling along the way. Now, maybe not the effect, although in this case, it's a variant of finish as well. So is it okay to publish variant handlings? It was okay to publish them in the magic magazines that I grew up with when that was the way to get magic information. Those aren't around anymore. You don't see Epilogue or Apocalypse, or, there might be one or two, but where do you publish unique variants? I'll stop talking now.
No, but you're right. Yeah. And what do you do if you find a better way to do something that you want to share it with?
So when I publish a trick, I certainly keep in mind the original handling. And usually what I'm offering is a variation of that includes personalizations and improvements from a lifetime of handling the trick that I'm talking about. I'm not publishing the trick just because I want to talk about it for views. I have a reason, and I try to go in some detail on the creator. I point the viewer towards the books to read. I encourage the reading. I've heard that I make sales for, the people out there saying you're not doing magic any good. Well, I'm selling your tricks. I'm putting people in your magic shops. They're going to your magic clubs now.
Yeah, because you think if someone learns one really great trick, they're not stopping there. That's actually going to send them down the rabbit hole to learn more. I mean, that's exactly how. Yeah, that's exactly how I got started. I was watching Miss Mag 822's videos, and then before you know it, I'm trying to absorb as much magic as I can from wherever I can. Although, I must admit, my parents bought me a Chris Angel magic kit, which did have some great magic in it, but I wish it, wasn't Chris Angel's magic kit.
I kind of like that kit, actually.
It was actually good. That's how I learned the Haunted deck for the first time ever. And that changed my world. Doing that for my family, and that was the first time they'd freaked out from like a non-sleight of hand moment. And that was cool. Yes. All right, Nick's back again. I like Nick's thoughts. We should have brought Nick on here. Think about it like a song. My Way, written by Paul Anka, sung by Dean Martin, and then Elvis, etc., etc.
You should bring Nick on here every time. Nick's a wonderful.
I know. Same song, but this is how I sing it. Yeah. These are good points, Nick. These are good points.
Yeah.
This is just us taking all that in.
Yeah, well, we have these discussions, and then we have to absorb the information and and either grow or say it's not good or whatever. And it's important to have these discussions, right? And I would like to have more with people who don't like what I'm doing. And fortunately, when I talk about the people that don't like what I'm doing, it's literally a handful, and I don't think I can even get to 4. Like if I had to. So I don't have dozens or 10. I'm counting and I would love to hear from the guys. If there's 10 of you out there, let's talk about it. But you got to let me know, fellas. When just a few of you show up in a public forum and start calling me a thief, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. We can do better than that, because I try hard to get it right. I'm done now.
Okay. I was like, I know I have the right sound here for it, but I was like, nope, that's not it. That's not it.
Skedaddly do.
Yeah. Yeah, Tigger T has the right. Yeah, Tigger T is true too. Chris Angel was very mainstream, and I'm sure he inspired someone to learn magic. Well, yeah, he did inspire my parents.
Yeah, so did Matt King on the World's Greatest Magic specials. He exposed magic every time to national magic audiences, and in the comics. And he's the world's greatest living magician, comedy stand-up anyway.
Yeah. Bob also says, "You're not a thief. You're a con."
I own that every day of my life.
That's great. That's really great. So aside from that, what else has been happening in your last week? Your cats have been taking over.
I'm kind of gearing up to do Magic Works. I've been in production mode this last week. I'm putting together, things to sell as I hit the road. I got one. I'm doing a con the end of this month, doing 2 in May, and I'm doing 1 in more down the line. So I'm getting, I'm stuffing packet tricks and putting labels on. And today I was ordering lecture notes, and that's my mode right now.
Oh, that's great.
Also, I'll talk about this today. I had my grandkids over today, and my daughter calls me last night. Hey, Dad, can you watch the kids? Sure, let's go. So we had magic teaching hour with the 6-year-old and the 9-year-old. And let me tell you about a 6-year-old absorbing magic tricks. Wow. They're both girls. She was crushing it. I have this because I'm going to do some giveaways of this. We did nickels and dimes. I even want to promote Murphy's line, but this is the one that killed me. This is the mummy. And with the mummy, you have 3 different mummies. They're different colors. Will my
Ooh.
camera focus? Yeah. So there's 3 different color mummies.
Right on. Yeah.
You put one in the box and then you hide the other 2, and the person tells you which mummy's in there. So I tell her the system. I'm like, here's how it works. If it's red, it's this. If it's blue, it's this. If it's yellow, it's this. And I'm like, no way a 6-year-old gets this, right? So I put one in. She turns around. It's red. She gets it right on the first time. Okay, maybe it's like, let's turn around. Let's do it again. She turns around, and I do the hard one. She goes, it's yellow. It's the hard one. She gets it right the second time. Her sister says, here, let me try it. Her sister tries to fake her out, puts nothing in the box. She turns around and she goes, nothing. She called her on putting nothing in the box.
Wow.
So she was also doing the ball and vase and the zigzag card. And it was great to see a 6-year-old just have a magic session today. 6 years old. Love it.
Tig is saying, please tell me you have a video of this.
Hold on a second. I have a little clip. Let me grab my phone. It's my second camera here.
Oh, Doug, I think we've lost your audio now that you've unplugged that. Yeah, we no longer hear you now, Doug. That's okay. I'll just do Doug's voice. So anyway, this is the video of the grandkids, and yeah, it looked real good. And please subscribe and follow.
Will this be a substitute momentarily?
Yes,
Can you hear
yes,
me just for a second?
sure can.
It's not going to focus on. Okay, this is them doing the mummy. So that's a picture of them. Now hold on a second.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
So
she's making them.
Dimes appear.
That's cool.
Here's the thing.
Those are great memories.
Here's the thing. When I give the kids instructions, part of the instructions are put the thing, do the thing, now make the magic happen, right? You have to have something that makes the magic happen. And in that video, I don't know if you could hear her, but she says, now close your hand and alakazam and magicaboo and make the dimes appear. She takes the time to create a moment that makes the magic effect happen. And that just warmed my heart. The 6-year-old nailing the methods, catching her sister heckling her, and then the 9-year-old with the presentation. Love my grandkids. And they're girls. Okay, I'll get my phone back on so my audio doesn't suck anymore. Sorry.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's probably better than a good portion of magicians when we're first learning, is having the actual magic moment, because we just want to shut the box and then go, now open it, and then the coin's there. But we forget that there has to be a moment that makes that happen. I remember when I was teaching on, there was a magic camp that I was a part of, and we were teaching kids that had hemiplegia, but the magic acted as therapy. The Amazing Magic Club, it was called. And one of the things we would teach is the rubber band jumping from 2 fingers to the other 2 fingers. And yeah, and the main thing of that was we made them come up with their own way to make the magic happen. So whether it was a hand gesture or a sound, because obviously when everyone first learns the jumping rubber band, they just want to put it on their fingers and just go boop and have it jump. These are all good lessons. Bob, eventually, Bob, you'll learn how to do that trick, and you'll learn how to make a magic moment from it, and you'll be killing it. Doug, I don't know. Do we still have you back now? Oh, you're going for the AirPods. We're so technical in this podcast, and also, we're halfway through the podcast. So those who thought Jason wouldn't make it, you are correct now. So that's a win. I wonder if the stat board changed at all since going on air here. 56% said no, 44% said yes. So you 44%, you're very hopeful. Well done, guys. Well, we might have lost Doug forever. How are you sounding there, Doug?
I jinxed it.
Oh, gee
I jinxed
whiz.
the iPhone audio. When I turn it on, your audio vanishes. Here's what we're going to do. It's going to be the Josh Norbido show for about 3 minutes, and I'll be right back. How about that?
Okay.
BRB.
All right. Catch you later. Wow. Okay. Look. Wow. Look how big my head is here. For those who are watching this, in the last like 2 podcasts ago when we were live streaming, I switched my lens to this 30mm lens instead of a 16mm. So you're seeing half as much as you would normally see in the podcast, but I feel like it actually properly shows the dimensions of your face, and how it's meant to look. Because in the 16mm, not that anyone cares, but it warps your face a little because it's trying to capture so much stuff in this wide setting. And this might be the most exciting thing for me. And it's only exciting if you watch this in video form. But for the last 114 episodes, there's always been a slight lag, a slight latency between the video of me and the audio of me. So you would always hear me before you'd actually see the camera move. But last week, I bought a new laptop. I bought a HP 360 Spectra with a 1 terabyte of memory. And this baby has been so great to use. And now my internet connection might be controversial if it's fast enough to handle streaming 1080p on the podcast, but there's now no lag between the audio and the video. So for me, it's like the most exciting thing that I could ever hope for. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bob says your face looks more normal for sure. That's true. And it wasn't that bad, but if you've always watched, you'd catch it occasionally. True. I mean, I guess, yeah, unless you see me in any other video format, you'd always think it was normal. And then probably once you saw this lens, you'd be like, oh, why does his face look weird? But this is what I actually look like. Tim, I know I came in late. How's the show? How did the show go? Hey, thanks for asking. We'll get into that now because we haven't really delved into that yet.
I'm back.
Hey, we're back. Nice one. Nice one.
What'd I miss?
Just in time. Tim was asking how the Showman shows went. So I was like, well, perfect timing.
Good topic.
Yeah. So it was last week. Although I do have, I have to fly to Canberra this weekend to do some more shows with Showmen, which is just amazing.
You love it?
Last week,
you love that?
Yeah. I love that I've just done the theater shows and now there's another one coming
Like, are
up.
these theater shows your dream gigs? Like, are you just like living the dream right now with this?
If I was a little bit richer, yes. But the actual
More
dynamics
money?
the actual dynamics of the show are like exactly what you would want. So, because I'm doing the acts that I've always wanted to be doing. And you've got like the best tech crew for everything you need. You've got cameras streaming the show, and like then you say to them, if you want it to be tighter on this particular moment, you tell them and they remember it because they log it in there.
You have a brain trust you're working with to evolve the show. So it's not all on your shoulders, right? And then hand in hand, you don't have to do the whole show. You get to just do the powerhouse
That's true.
parts.
That's very true.
It's a dream gig, really. You do your solid 20, right? 20 minutes. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm doing 3 acts that split up in the show.
All right.
And so the way it worked is we walked in and these guys are so pro. We had a whole day of no actual shows. We got to bump in all our gear, set up. We did a full production show, but to no audience.
Great.
Just so that there could be stuff that went wrong. And
as it should be, yo.
We had a producer assigned to us at QPAC who was looking after us for our time there, and they watched the full rehearsal show. And then at the end, we all sat down and she gave us notes on how it will play better in this theater for different things, and wait longer while this spotlight's on before it goes off, and just all these little touches that just Made
And
it.
these add up. This is not your first rodeo with this show, so you've been doing how many of these, and now it's just getting better every time.
That's
like
right.
fine wine,
It's
right?
we've been doing Showmen for a year now. Like obviously
wow.
not every week, but it's a year this month that we first opened in the Gold Coast last year. So yeah, so that wasn't crazy because every theater we've gone to, it's always been get there, quickly set up, do a tech check, but then the audience is here. So we got a whole day just to do all the stuff we needed to. Then we had the actual shows, and you know, this is a 1,500 seat theater, and we were selling like really well. Like all the floor seats were sold out. It's only the balconies they didn't open up because for Magic it's not really appropriate. It's more of a concert hall that we were in. So all the floor seats all sold. Like, you know, just hearing that energy come to you when you're doing Magic and people are applauding. It's exactly what you'd hope for as a young Magic boy learning your Svengali.
You see some of your old girlfriends there and be like, "Hey, y'all, what's up?"
I saw old like school friends, like people who I used to know, and that was cool.
You're like, what are you doing with your life?
yeah, man, exactly. I think we've talked about how I wanted to get this thing made so it would shoot out a Rubik's Cube to me in my act.
Mm-hmm.
That this is the first shows of Showmen that I actually got to use that.
Nice.
And I'll have to send you a video, Doug, because it's this whole routine now has become. I'm trying to get it away from being about the Rubik's Cubes and more about the interaction between me and the video of me. Because there's two me's in this act, and we talk to each other and we interact with each other and we send stuff to each other through the screen to real life and vice versa. And it's very fun. So being able to do that with such a large screen was really cool.
Will you keep that? Will you keep this moment, or can you do this in your regular shows? Does this have to be a Showman moment, or can this be a Josh Norbito offering?
Well, it just yeah, I mean, it just depends where the corporate events are, if they have like good screens to be able to, you know, play the videos.
What's the screen situation that you're working with? You know, how are you projecting, or what are you using?
I mean, currently in Showman, the theaters we play in always have like proper big screens, so that if you're doing close-up stuff, you know, the audience at the back. So
you're
screens.
Not traveling with your own screen for this.
No. This is
what I was picturing was you on the stage interacting with yourself on a smaller screen versus the bigger kind of. Okay.
Yeah, I think Doug, that'll be the next version. Will be to get a screen that's like the size of me, like a vertical screen.
Yeah, and that's what I was seeing.
Yeah, so that would be awesome eventually, but at the moment it's not that. It's just the screen that they have. So,
like, I desperately want a streaming solution for whatever show I'm going to be doing. Like, I so want that. It's got to entail a second person at the very least, I guess, and then I don't know where to start to project a quality image onto a screen, you know, in the wild. You know, you show up on location and now you got to put a quality image on a screen. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, what I have started doing is the close-up routine that I think we briefly mentioned last time that people can find on my YouTube of the love story routine I do with cards. That's live streamed from a camera in the moment to the screen. And I have started doing that at corporate events, just using my M50 with a
That's
HDMI
what I'm talking
cable.
about. Yeah. So you were just using that?
Not in Showman, but at the corporate event.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how do you get the video out? Wirelessly?
Currently I've been asking for them to have a HDMI cable on the stage, and then you get a HDMI to mini HDMI converter, like little extension.
I have one.
Yeah, that plugs into your camera, and now that will show up on the screen. The only thing is, it doesn't give you that clean. What do we call it? The clean video or whatever that normally people buy a cam link for. You know what I mean? So what I do is there's a little info button on the M50, and when you press that, it eventually turns off all of the things you see on your screen.
I have acquainted myself with this button because of recent problems I've had with the EOS webcam utility. I've been using HDMI, not a keeper for me because it kills after 30 minutes, and I don't see a way to extend that on the M50. Do you know a solution to that?
For
HDMI out dying after 30 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, the camera will always still stop after 30 minutes. I've been playing around with intervalometers.
I thought you had mentioned something last week. Does that fix it?
No, what that is an automatic button that's usually used for photography.
That doesn't fix that, yeah.
You can have it re-record. But the other way is if you were at an event, you would actually have your camera running into your laptop through Ecamm, which it'll let it just constantly stream. And then you would have your laptop plugged into the system that's going to show it on the projector.
Good times.
That would be the long, kind of like how we're on the Magic Guys, and this, our cameras don't stop after 30 minutes on here.
Right.
But luckily in my act, that card act is 5 minutes long. So that's not
You got a camera guy on you filming it like that when you're doing the card act? Are you on a tripod or what?
So in Showmen, you'll see it in my vlog too. And if you do watch like the first 3 minutes of the podcast we put up, I put a little snippet of it. So in Showmen, there's a guy with just the most overkill but really awesome camera setup. He's got like a whole scorpion thing going on where he's wearing the stabilizer around his chest. This thing comes from over his head, hangs down, and the camera attaches here. And that's what he's using to live stream me. But other times we just use a tripod, and that's fine as well.
He's hardwired into everything with like an HDMI cable, like you were talking about.
Yeah, so if you want to be wireless, he uses so there's two things you can use. One is the Holyland Rover, I think it's called. Anyway, it's like $1,000. That can connect to the projector and then to your camera wirelessly. It'll talk to itself.
That's some proprietary thing that doesn't use the internet or Wi-Fi.
That's correct. Yeah, it sends a signal, so it has antennas on both the receiver and the transmitter.
You're taking the internet out of the equation.
Yeah, well, this is if you're projecting onto a screen like at an event, right? Where you're not streaming to people at home. So I can
envision getting my image from the Canon wirelessly, but I never want to rely on that with Wi-Fi, for anything professional.
Yeah. I definitely have seen people streaming online using this Holyland, so they can have one of their camera angles is just a roving camera that they can have attached to nothing, for sure. So so that's the most commercially available to us product that's like cheap.
Only 1,000, huh? I'm gonna get 3 of them just in case.
Exactly, because then the next thing and the top tiered thing that everyone uses has a funny name, like a Tetra, or I forget the name. Someone in this chat might know. But there's a higher grade version that's like $3,000 that when it's more responsibility to not stuff it up, people use. But we use the Holyland.
Wired in, right? He's running around with a wire on his Scorpion suit, or is he wireless?
No, yeah, Scorpion guy is wireless.
Man, I kind of want that suit. Just hearing about it, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
He's wireless. He's using the $1,000 dealio.
I think he's using the $3,000 dealio. Because I saw it. I saw it. I couldn't quite read the name, so I knew it wasn't the one that I'd been using. But this is just a little image of like how big the screen is compared to me on stage. So you've got the camera guy.
Oh, baby. That's a lot of screen.
You've got the camera guy, and you can kind of see how the camera's coming over his head. And then
you look so good. It's so well lit there. C'est bon.
It's the best. Having the lighting team, it's so fun, Doug. It's so fun. So so we got to do 4 shows to like actual audiences when we were there. I was able to set up my camera to record one of the shows. so that I've got it for adding into my vlog and for keeping for my own archiving and stuff.
That's awesome.
The actual theater professionally recorded one of the shows for us, which is amazing. And yeah, so between all that, and then we also had a professional photographer come into one of the shows. So now we've got professional images of the show. It's all happening. But yeah,
What
so at
about
the end of the day,
residency? Is that on the radar, or you discuss, or is there even availability of that in your country?
like at the theater,
Say a
where we just at?
casino. Can you get a 6 months at the casino theater, maybe? Something like that.
Who knows? Maybe the one at the Gold Coast, the Star Casino, is the one that has the theater. And people like Cosentino, like magicians have played there. So, but like right now, Hamilton has the residency at QPAC. Like they're there for, the longest run.
Yeah.
And now that we've done those shows, they definitely will have the option of like offering us a return season if they want or when they want, because it did sell really well for them. But I guess we'll see. Yeah. But at the moment, like Chris and Mike, who produced the show, who, originally are from the Naked Magicians, they're kind of treating it like how they ran their Naked Magician machine, where they tour it to all the big theaters in Australia until they've exhausted all of those options. And then you kind of look broader after that. But at the moment, there's still so many places because we've hardly left our own state currently. Like, there's so many options. Yeah. Oh, Dash. So Dash Magic, by the way, I should bring this up. Dash Magic here is one of the tech that was working at QPAC in Showmen last week. And we met each other, and he was like, "Hey, I'm Dash Magic, who comments on the Magic Guys." And I was like, "That's crazy." So a top tiered tech guy watches the podcast, and he's here now. Thank you, Dash. But yes, he pointed out. So I just went on Doug about how, this guy had the $3,000 wireless thing, but in the last show, the live camera did actually drop out for like 5 seconds in my card routine act.
I see.
And that is probably the downfall of not having it hardwired with a cable, because the signal did drop out, and that it was a weird moment. It dropped out. It's never happened to me before. It all I felt was just darkness. I didn't realize the screen had gone off. I just felt the light change, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird." And I looked, and I realized I'm doing like the coolest move, but no one can see it. And I was like, "Oh." And I looked at Mars, who was on the camera operating, and I was like, and he just looked at me like, like everything's on my end. And it was a weird moment because I didn't know whether to stop or do I keep going like an idiot, like with no one watching me, But luckily, I kind of kept going. The screen came back on. I was like, great. Went to do the next move. Screen goes off again. I'm like, Jesus, do I just stop and just call it out to the audience? Like, I know that you can't see what's happening here either. But then it came on a third time, and luckily it stayed on, and I hadn't lost where I was up to in like the routine.
Is there music in the routine?
Yes, there is, and it's very dependent on what I'm doing.
You too.
Yes, but luckily, the only thing I had going for me is because I made this routine, and I've done it like 1,000 times. I was able to just like drop 2 cards off the deck to know that that'll get me in like the position to do the rest of the routine where I was up to. So that was fine.
Yay, professionalism.
But, yeah. Oh, Dash has some insight. The first time it happened to us as well was because there was so much RF signal around the room, right?
Yeah, that's the aliens. They're coming back.
Yeah. So they use
the RF.
Yeah, that can happen. But it's just one of those things. So at the end of the day, what I will say is like, I have never been so physically tired after doing all those shows. Even
How
though
many was it?
Well, it was only 4, like with audiences.
Yeah.
But like I had to go and I've never needed a massage in my life. And I usually will go for fun because Sandy loves getting them.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I was like, babe, I need a massage like as
Yeah.
soon as possible. My
I would
glutes, my
imagine there was some
hamstrings are all
extra tension
tired.
built up from your hometown show there, right? You know, giving it your all.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, giving that extra push in my backflips and my card routine and
Oh yeah, you're physical too.
and then loading out and then also vlogging. I'm like vlogging the whole time while we're
Right.
also doing shows.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a bit. I'm currently editing the vlog right now, and it's going to be a cracker. Now that I have a new laptop, I can actually do more effects in Premiere. I can start to use After Effects because this laptop can actually handle the rendering.
Before you were on a Mac, right? You were on an old MacBook.
So I used to for this podcast I would use a Mac.
Right.
But for my editing, I would use what's called a Windows Surface Pro.
Yeah.
Which is a very thin laptop, and it's only made for like writing emails and doing
not
Excel
to hold
graphs.
a terabyte of video.
No, not at all. But now we've changed that. So now, yeah, and so now I'm using this new laptop for everything. So for the podcast and for editing, the whole 9 yards.
That'll make a huge difference in your life.
It
Big
already
time saver too, I'd imagine.
Totally. It can just export videos so quickly. It doesn't have to think, you know, it's great.
That'll pay for itself that way.
Yeah, I recommend it. But you know, so now that those shows are done, I can't believe it, but they were great. And now we get to do it again this weekend. We're going to be in Canberra, which is in a different state to us. It'll definitely be my first time doing magic there. In Canberra, and I'll report back to about that next week. But also quickly before we run out of time, I got to meet our friend in magic, Ruben Moreland, who Jason had talked about meeting on the cruise ships. That people might remember from seeing him do FISM, or for his because in FISM he did his ball manipulation acts, and people also recognize him from Fool Us. That's probably where most mainstream people have seen him, when he was doing his dice matrix.
He was on like a Tannen's Magic Camp movie or something like that. He was in one of those movies where they focused on the kids at Magic Camp. Ruben was one of them. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think I am.
The one on Disney, like that came out recently? The Magic Camp? Or are you saying
if we had more than 3 minutes, I'd start Googling it, but you know, here, I'll look around a little bit.
But anyway, he was a gentleman. So he's from New York, but he was in Australia for a while, and he does a lot of the Purple Rabbit cruise ship shows that Jason was away for like 4 months at a time doing a little while back. And he just came to see the show, and it was cool to hear his insight on it from just
the title
enjoying it.
Is Magic Camp. It was released in 2012. And this is, I guess, Tannen's Magic Camp. Oh, there's Ruben doing the appearing game. You guys will have to go look at
Oh my God.
Ruben at age 16.
Oh my God. Because Disney remade a Magic Camp that like Justin Willman was consulting in and stuff. That was like a big deal a couple of years ago. But that must be a remake of the original.
I was in The World's Greatest Kid Magician. This was a movie they filmed in New Orleans, and I was actually juggling in this movie of all things. They brought several of the local magicians in for, you know, the backup talent at the Magic Castle. World's Greatest Kid Magician. Kind of a stinker, actually. But yeah, go watch Ruben Moreland in the camp.
Holy crap! Yeah, we got to watch that, and we got to watch Doug's. So what was your movie called? The
World's Greatest Kid Magician. Let's see if that title comes up. World's Greatest Kid. It was a made for Disney TV. It went right to Disney streaming.
Holy. And you're still living off the royalties now, I imagine.
I got a daily fee for that. I didn't get even a SAG deal. You know, if I'd had lines, cool, but I was just on stage juggling while they were in the Magic Castle conversing per se, you know.
Wow. Okay. I'm the one that's lagging here. I got to get me.
Yeah,
I got
man,
to
I
get
got
myself
Disney
on a.
creds. I got Disney
Yeah.
creds.
Well, I have a Disney credit, but I just don't have a Magic Disney credit. The only one I've done is the Doctor Who spin-off of K9, which was a Disney show. I'm in that, but I'm not in any Magic camps yet.
Well, you're in the recent Russell Crowe poker vehicle. I still haven't watched that one, but it's on my to-do list.
Poker Face, yeah.
That counts.
What's funny is only like 2 months later, there's an actual series that's come out called Poker Face on Netflix as well. Oh, sorry, on Stan, which is over here, the platform that it's on. But totally different movie.
I've watched that whole series. It's great. My wife, it's one of her favorite actresses. Great series. This woman, she can detect lies. What a great premise. Right. And she travels around the country chased by the mob, and she's solving crimes along the way by detecting lies. It's a great series. Really well done.
Oh, nice. Well,
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't watch a lot of these things, but that was a good one.
All right. Well, it sounds better than the movie that I was in. But
the reason I haven't watched it yet, the reviews are less than enthusiastic. But I do want to see my friends' highlights in the show.
Yeah, I'll just send you it. It's really just flashes of me.
But also I'm a poker nerd, so I'll probably enjoy it a little more than your average nerd. You know, because I do like poker, so
the premise. Like it, actually. Yeah, the premise of it is interesting. So as a poker player, yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's got a better chance for me.
For sure. Sure. It's got cards in it. You know, I'm probably going to watch it.
That's all I really need. Even if it had one playing card in it, I'll watch the movie.
Yeah. So, look, it's been great, guys, chatting. Give Jason hell in the comments in his last vlog for not making it on here. Yeah. And we'll report back soon. Stay tuned for my vlog of Showmen coming out in the next few days. Anything else to add, Doug? I think that's about it. Peace.